Today's recipe is a delicious Italian dish known as Sicilian swordfish stew with capers and olives. For this recipe we want to start with about 1 to 1.5 pounds of swordfish steaks, some salt, 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil, 1 small onion or half of a large onion like I have here, plus 2 garlic cloves. Onions are going to be chopped and the cloves will be minced. We are also going to use about 1 to 1.5 teaspoons of minced fresh rosemary leaves, 1/4 cup of white wine. I use Pinot Grigio, 1 can of San Marzano Roma tomatoes if you can find them. If not, any other Roma tomatoes or canned tomatoes will do. And we're going to chop these. 3/4 cup of pitted green olives. I have the Sicilian olives here. 1/4 cup of capers. We want to rinse those. And also 1/4 cup of pine nuts, which we will lightly toast next. The first step we want to do is go ahead and toast our pine nuts. We want to get a pan on about high heat, basically. And we don't want to add any oil because it'll really smoke up. So a dry pan is very important. And we're just going to toast these for a few minutes until they're lightly browned. You can see them starting to brown very nicely. And you can also tell because you can smell the aroma of the pine nuts. Once the pine nuts are nice and brown, they're done, you want to kill the heat and immediately remove them from the pan. On our swordfish, what we want to do, you can see there's a gray skin. We want to get rid of the skin just by slicing it away. And we want to go ahead and cut these into about 1-inch chunks. And place them in a bowl. And we want to take a generous amount of salt and sprinkle it over the swordfish. Probably like a half a teaspoon's worth. Next we're going to chop our onion. Alright, the onions are done. Now we want to go ahead and chop up our garlic. There, just want to give it a kind of a coarse chop. On the rosemary leaves, I got mine from the garden. You can buy them as well. What you want to do though is rinse them off, and then we're going to mince them up real fine. For the Roma tomatoes, we want to pour them in a bowl with their liquid. And then we want to use our hand and just crush each one. Let's splatter about, but that's okay. We just want to crush them down so that they're smaller bite-sized pieces than whole tomatoes. Alright, there. Alright, in a Dutch oven or a wide saute pan, we want to get our heat to about medium-high, and we're going to go ahead and add our 1/4 cup of olive oil. Okay, when the oil's nice and hot, we want to go ahead and add our onions. And we're going to cook these till they're soft, about 5 minutes. The onions are nice and soft and golden, not browned. And we're going to go ahead now and add our garlic and cook for about 30 seconds. Next we add our minced rosemary and our wine. And this we want to stir thoroughly, combine everything, and we're going to bring it to a boil. Alright, looking good. Now, once this comes to a boil, we're going to add our tomatoes, our olives, and our 1/4 cup of capers. Look at the beautiful color in this. And we're just going to stir it about. Again, we want this to come to a soft boil. Now when this comes to a boil, what we want to do is stir it gently, of course, and then lower the heat to simmer and cover. And that'll let it thicken for about 10 minutes. So this has been cooking for about 10 minutes. Now we want to add our fish, and we're going to Stir those in, nice cubes. We want to add this last because they take the least amount of time to cook through. And now we cover and let the fish become opaque. It takes about 5 to 8 minutes. Now this has been cooking about 8 minutes now, and you can see how beautiful this dish is. The swordfish is cooked through, they're nice and opaque. To serve this up, we just simply take a ladle and grab some of our delicious swordfish stew. Make sure we got olives and fish. A little bit more sauce. And then we want to garnish it with a few of our toasted pine nuts. Yummy! And that's it. This is our delicious Sicilian swordfish stew with capers and olives.